Welcome to Simply Sarah. I'm Sarah Stockham, your host, and I am delighted that you are investing in you, that you are taking the time to press in, to listen. And whether you're doing this live or you're doing it when it works in your world on demand, we are just so incredibly grateful. We're also grateful for our sponsors, for the Stegner family, for theartofforgiving.com, for Katie Ingersoll, and for our guest today, Puja Misra. I'm so glad that you are here. I'm so thankful that Laura introduced us, Laura Smith, and welcome to Simply Sarah.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You are an expert in so many different things. I'd like to have you share a little bit of the background of your story of how you got to where you are today, because although you are Zoom into life today, there was a point in time that you were working with textiles and colors and doing other things. So would you tell us just a bit about your story, please?
Yeah, I would love to. And thank you, Sarah, first of all, for having me and for this beautiful question to start with. So I started my journey almost, I think, 30 years ago now. I graduated from university in textile design. I did my fashion design. I worked in the fashion and apparel industry for almost a decade. And my last job was a corporate job at Walmart Canada at the head office in the apparel section. And um, I always had this thing that I enjoyed my 9 to 5, but there was something that was in my heart that I'm meant for more. There's more for me to give to the world. And at that time, it was just that little spark, that little voice that I heard. Um, I call it God's voice, universe's voice. And I just decided to follow that. So I was there in the world of fashion, worked with international brands, and then 15 years ago, I opened Zoom into Life Studio, which is now grown into a branding and marketing agency where we build personal brands for entrepreneurs. And so what I do now is I bring all of that knowledge and expertise of working with different international brands because I understand how the big brands talk to their target audience, how do they approach their marketing, how do they approach their advertising, how do they communicate with their audience, all of those nuances that are there. I bring all of that knowledge and expertise and experience that I've had through those years to my business that is there. And so, yeah, that's what I do. And that's what my past was working with different brands. And now I get to work on brands that are for small business owners and really put a spotlight on them and the magic that they bring. And I truly feel that every small business owner I meet and I've worked with, they're doing this because they have a deeper purpose that they want to make an impact. And I feel like I get to be that small part in that impact that they're creating. So yeah.
So you help people take whatever their dream or their desire is, whatever they are creatively birthing into the world, and you help them really hone in on not just the colors and the textures, but what their voice is, what their message is, and then help them be able to share that with the world. Did I get that correctly?
Absolutely. Spot on.
Beautiful. I'm noticing this huge, amazing award that is over your shoulder. I would love for you to share a little bit about that because it is quite an accomplishment.
Thank you. Well, this award is basically I won from ClickFunnels from Russell Brunson and Todd Dickerson. This was, I guess, a year and a half ago, where I'd gone to Orlando, where they have this huge marketing conference called as Funnel Hacking Live, where there are over 5,000 marketers coming from all over the world, and I was blessed, I would say, to be able to win this award. And so I'm certified in all of the different kinds of sales funnels that are out there that people require in order for them to really monetize and really scale their businesses when it comes to ads and funnel everything. So this is basically an award for me being a master sales funnel expert.
I think it's also an affirmation for that still small voice that spoke to you years ago and said you were made for more. And then for 15 years ago, for you to say, okay, I'm ready to launch out and do this. And then sharing was really quite amazing because people were moving online, and then we got to 2020, and people, excuse me, began to really uh, jump into the online space. I make a Greek drink of water here, but I love that you were awarded that. Mm. Because it's, I think, so beautifully confirms the road that you have been on, the work that you have done. So lovely.
Thank
I would
you.
love for you to share some of the things that you notice as you look at people's advertising on, let's say, let's just pick Instagram. When
Mhm.
you look at that and you see people who are perhaps starting out, what are some of the things that you notice that they are doing well?
Mhm. Some of the things I feel that people are doing well is really sharing what their purpose is
Mm,
and their heart, because I truly feel that when you are able to communicate to your audience who are, what you do, and what your purpose is, which goes beyond the financial gain that's there. Um,
yes.
that is something that when you are able to put that out into the universe, it's that positive energy that you're putting out, and naturally, as a result of that, people feel that, people connect with that, because none of us like to be sold to, but we do like to buy, and we only buy when we know, like, and trust, as it's universally said. And I feel that when a person is able to communicate their true purpose and how they are making an impact in their own unique way to the world, people get that. And when you have that connection that you're creating with your audience, which is a heartfelt connection,
Mm,
that is just absolutely brilliant. Because once a person sees that, they're like, I know so many people in the same space, but I connect with her or I connect with him because I feel that their heart is pure and that they're doing this in order to make an impact. So I think that is something very beautiful. And when I see somebody do that, I'm just a fan.
yes, I agree with you. Message over the monetary part. I personally believe that if the message is pure and clear and articulated well,
Yeah.
that the monetary part shut, because as you say, people are wanting to like that person, to trust that person, and get to know them and how they are choosing to use their voice, use their message. Such an important part. Coming back again to this particular platform, what are some things that you are noticing that people who are starting out uh, oftentimes are not paying attention to as well as they could?
Mhm. So I feel like some things that entrepreneurs or new entrepreneurs, when they are trying to put their word out there, I feel like because they don't have a clear pathway and a direction, or sometimes a clear strategy,
Mm,
they see all of these tactics that are happening out there into the online world, which is so fast moving. And so they see all of these tactics and they feel like, oh, this tactic this person is doing and they are uber successful. So I'm going to take that tactic and I'm going to apply it to my business, and then that is going to create success for me. And it doesn't happen that way because every person is unique, every business is unique, your audience is unique. What is the kind of how you serve, what is the kind of impact that you're wanting to make is very unique. And so tactics are great, but before you dive into the tactics, you need to know who you are first of all, and how do you really communicate that message to the world so that you are leading with the right message that is there and attracting the right audience, and not just doing these marketing tactics out there and just burning yourself out. So I feel like because they're doing that, they don't have that direction. They sort of go into a place of burnout, and when something does not work consistently for a long period of time, then the self doubt creeps in, and they are like, maybe I'm not meant for it. Maybe this is not the business that I'm meant to do. And it's not true. There's a reason why that dream was given to you in your heart, is because you were meant to pursue it. It's just that you did not have the right tools, or the right strategy and the clarity in order for you to execute that. And I
Mhm.
think realization of that is key and very critical and important, because when you have that realization, then you're able to truly shift things in your business. So that's what I feel.
I know that one of the gifts that I was given early in my business, when I had a hands on, much more of a brick and mortar type of situation, um, was somebody who offered for us to meet for breakfast. And if I would pay for breakfast, that she would answer my questions. And
Mhm.
in the beginning, I thought, Lori Paley's just being nice. And then breakfast, and we began talking, and having somebody who is so successful in the community and so far ahead, and just such knowledge, that space, that really, even though I had been a classroom mentor to new teachers as a classroom teacher, I had not appreciated the incredible um, support and just how it literally saved me years of trying to figure out things on my own just by sitting and having breakfast with her multiple times, and just so grateful. So I think that space also that you're speaking of is having a mentor, and that I know that that's something that you do, that you offer in your business. But what a wise way to be able to move forward in the business is in having somebody who is saying, okay, um, maybe some people post every single day, and maybe that's great, but maybe being consistent in the beginning might be more important than posting every single day. You may have a different philosophy on that than I, but I just think that space of having a mentor is something that is so, so important. You had those 15 years of working and watching major brands that people know around the world, and seeing how they would turn and what they would do as technology was shifting. And so you bring all of that knowledge with you to offering to when people choose to say, yes, I have something and I want to make sure that my message is clear when I put it out into the world. And we're going to take a quick break here. When we come back afterwards, Pooja, I would love for you to kind of lay out a little bit of what it feels like. It works, um, feels, yes, but how do you like to work with people when people say, I'm going to come work with you? So the feeling that you are wanting to elicit out of them, but also some of the things that you offer. We will be right back.
This is Michelle. She teaches women how to forgive the people who betrayed them, not by asking them to talk about it, but by helping them express it through art. She's an art therapist and the creator of the art of forgiving, a class that turns emotion into expression. No therapy jargon, no pressure to explain, because forgiveness isn't about the other person. It's about setting yourself free. This is Michelle, and this is the art of forgiving.
Are you ready to enrich and deepen your relationship with the spirit world and increase your knowledge of the shamanic journey? Then this is for you. The first step of the shamanic journey is to discover your power animal. This process allows you to step into Spirit's energetic field where they share their aspect of the divine's power. And as a result, you begin to realize the significance of their sacred power and what it means to you personally. Katie Ingersoll is a highly sought shamanic and Reiki teacher, a practitioner, a spiritual counselor, and educator. With grace, she integrates the rich teachings of the wise ancient ones into her workshops, encouraging her students to mesh these teachings into their everyday lives. For details of how you can discover your power animal, reach out to Katie at katieingersoll@gmail.com. You can also find her as a qualified teacher and practitioner on Sandra Ingerman's shamanicteachers.com. Katie Ingersoll's classes and workshops are fresh, unique, fun, and informative. Ready to deepen your shamanic understanding? Reach out today. Pooja, I would love for you to share when somebody signs up to work with you, what is it that you want them to feel, and what are some of the things that they can expect?
That is such a great question. I feel, or some of the things that my clients have said that they actually feel when they work with me and my business is they feel that they have the clarity which they did not have of who they are, how they need to show up, who do they need to talk to, how do they need to approach their marketing, how do they position themselves as a brand. So definitely clarity, and that clarity then gives them the confidence to show up in their true brilliance in their brand that's there, because they now know that they have the credibility that they can showcase now to the world, and that instills that confidence even further, which I feel like it just has a snowball effect, because when you feel good, you put out good energy, and as a result of that, you attract only good into your life. So that is what my clients feel. And what was the next question you mentioned?
And
Was it
then what can they expect when they sign up to work with you? What does that look like? Does it look like one on one time? Do you take them through a course?
right? Got it. So basically, we have, because every, again, coming back to the thing that I was saying, that every business is very different. So what I do, something which is very unique, is I create a custom brand map for each and every individual that's there, because every person comes to us at a different point in their journey. Some people have been in business for a couple of years. They've built a business, but they've not built a brand, and now they know that they need to go to the next level. They need to do that. Some people come to us where they've been maybe 10, 15 years, maybe 37 years in business, and now they want to create that legacy for themselves and showcase that brand. So based on where they are, I build a custom brand map for them, and someone who's not really built a brand, I'll just talk about that as to what that looks like. If
Mhm.
someone's not really built a brand, they built a business, they want to up level. What I do is we take them through a brand strategy workshop, which is a deep dive 1 day workshop that I and my husband, we both brand strategists, do with the founder of the company and or the business owners or and partners of the company. And it's basically a deep dive into different exercises that help them know that, okay, this is who I am, this is what my messaging is, this is how I'm going to approach. And it's not just based on the demographics, but really understanding the psyche of their audience that is there. And then, so once we do the brand strategy workshop, we create a detailed brand strategy blueprint for them, so they know exactly what to do and how to show up in their business and what to do in their marketing and everything. And then once we do the strategy, then we build out all of the marketing collaterals that they now need visually to show it to the world. So almost like what we do for people, like an iceberg. So when people come to us, they usually think, oh, I need a website or a logo or some photos and things like those. And I tell them that's important, but that's your external branding. And if you look at the iceberg, that's just the 15 to 20% of the iceberg that is there, which is the tip, which is visual, which people can see. But the iceberg, which is 70 to 80% under the water, that's something that nobody can see. So your strategy is that 70 to 80%. Now that we've nailed that, now let's build your 15 to 20% on top. And so then we look at probably creating their brand identity and logo, because that acts like a glue, because that's something that people are going to use across all of the marketing platforms that are there, and that makes their brand really cohesive. And
Mhm.
so build out the brand identity. We create beautiful brand story videos, which is a short window of 2 to 3 minutes. And
Mhm.
in that 2 to 3 minutes, what we're trying to do is we're trying to humanize the brand, where the business owner, is communicating who they are, what they do, what is the impact that they're creating, and why should people work with them. And that is done so beautifully that it connects with people really emotionally, and it's not just surface level that, okay, I do this. It's not like a pitch. It's a movie about them and their cause. So we do that, and then we leverage the power of brand photography, which are not your average headshots, because this is something that people would need when they are up leveling their social media or their website. So we do that, and then just like we bake a cake, we take all of the front end work that we have done, And then we take all of that and then we move on to creating a aesthetic website. Because when we are creating a website, I tell people your website is not just a page where people come and it has to be there's has some information has to be there. It's actually your virtual head office. It is your virtual storefront. So if
Yes.
you would have your virtual storefront, how would you want your experience to be? You need to look at your website through that, because people are, no matter where they find you, whether at a networking event or online, they're going to go to your website, because what they're trying to really do is they're trying to establish whether I can trust this person. Am I safe with this person?
Right.
And so we do that, and then that really helps them put that brand out there. And then that's the phase one. And then once they are comfortable, yes, they've started marketing themselves and everything, and they are at a place where now they want to go even further, then we help them with creating sales funnels, and then obviously with ads and even social media content videos that are there, so that they are able to really market themselves well in a much more authentic way, rather than again just apply tactics that everybody else is doing. So that's what it really looks like. So it's a complete ecosystem is what we create. So
It is absolutely an ecosystem. Inside of that, then, do you have you are listening, you are taking people through processes to really understand what it is that they have, what they want to be sharing, and then you are creating these pieces for them. Then, do you continue to offer that you will do editing for them and that you continue to handle the web pages for them, or do you hand that over? Are you more of the front end of this, or is this long term relationship?
it's how people want it to be.
Mm,
I feel like that is so important, that people need to do what is comfortable for them and what works for them at that point of time. Some people are there where they want us to do constant updates on the website and everything, and so obviously they stay over a longer period of time, and then we are making those tweaks and changes as they want. But some people are like, I just need a website, and that's it. So it's like you're walking into a car showroom, you buy your car, and then you're driving this beautiful car. If you need any servicing, you come back to the showroom, and yes, we are more than happy to do that. But if you want it on an ongoing basis, we can do that as well. And with regards to the video, so if we are creating say social media content videos for someone, we do everything for them, right from creating concepts to the scripts to the captions to recording to even directing them how they need to speak, and what they need to do and everything, and then editing, and then finally they have this video. So all they need to do is just take that video and then post and then engage with their audience that's there. So we do all of the heavy lifting, because my philosophy is that a person needs to focus on their zone of genius. So when they are focusing on their zone of genius and we are focusing on our zone of genius, both of us are
yes.
bringing our A game on, and we are collaborating, bringing that A game on. Success is just inevitable. So that's what I do. But if somebody's to come to us saying that, okay, I just want you to do editing of my videos, that's not something that we offer, because I feel like there are brilliant editors out there who are just focused on
Mhm.
doing editing work. Whereas when people come to us, they understand that they're getting more of that holistic ecosystem and that brand building, because I'm a brand builder and that's what I love to do. That's my zone of genius that lights me up. So, yes, we do that. But if we're going in, then we go all in, because I know that if we don't go all in, then the person is not going to see the results that they're wanting to. So if we do that, we do take the project and we go all in on that.
And so, are you focusing then on with their social media the increase the number of people that they increasing their followers? What becomes some of the matrix that you look at to say, hey, what the person told us when they were answering their questions was spot on, and
Mhm.
we heard it well, and we've done all of this work. How do you gauge the success of what you're putting out into the world? Because it's not just you using your zone of genius,
Yeah.
you are relying on other people to share their information. And sometimes in the beginning, people think they know,
Mhm.
And then I've had multiple conversations with business owners who said, well, we started here and that's not where we ended up, right? And
Yeah,
so, how are you gauging how things are going?
yeah. And social media, and thank you for asking that. That's a really interesting question, because what happens is that with social media, so many people are focused on the vanity metrics of how many followers am I getting? Am I getting followers or not? What I yes, followers are important, but I don't look at that as the primary metric. What I'm really looking at is the conversations. How many people are actually engaging with you and are leaving meaningful comments? Are they sharing it forward, the content that you are creating? Are they messaging you when you are posting something? And these are private DM messages,
Right.
and saying that this was really helpful. I so look forward to your videos, and I really like the content that you're creating. And then those messages then turn into, okay, you know what? I feel that I've been seeing this person for a long period of time. I know that our thought processes, or I really align with what they're putting out. I see that they have helped many other people. I know that I'm at this place. Maybe it's time that I should reach out to this person. So what I'm really looking at is the conversion part that is there. And it is a runway, just like the aeroplane that's there. If it has to take off, it's not a helicopter; it's an aeroplane. It needs to, it needs to have that power, and it needs that runway to be able to take off, and then it's able to go for miles and miles from one
Mhm.
country to the other, is because all of these factors that play a role. So I look at those things as to what are the conversions, and how are people engaging. Is something landing, not landing? If it's not landing, we need to tweak. And yeah, so I follow those. You might have a small number of followers, that's fine. But if you have engaged followers, then that is what we're looking for.
That is such a beautiful answer, Pooja, in terms of helping people understand that it's one thing to talk about numbers, it's a whole other thing to talk about engagement. And the engagement is the part that I think really does drive for the possibility of conversion, of taking the message and monetizing it at that point. Do you encourage people to do, I would say, kind of a long runway of, get to know me, where they are doing videos about themselves, or do you encourage them to kind of intermix that from the beginning with uh, their product or what it is that they are putting out into the world?
Yeah, and again, great question, Sarah. I truly believe that we have to follow the 80-20 principle that's there. And the 80-20 principle is there for a reason. It's well researched and everything.
It
And
is.
so 80% is, and again, social media is the top of the funnel. What really is happening in social media is that you're putting out your content, you're pouring your heart there, and it is there to attract the right kind of people to you. Once you attract people through social media, you have to have other things in place, maybe your email nurture system, your funnels that are there, the DM strategies that are there, so many different things that come into the play that needs to be set up as well. Because if you're just creating content and if you don't have that at the back end, you have a beautiful looking machine or a piece, but the back end is not functioning, and that doesn't help, right? So I
Right.
feel like those things are very important to kind of consider, that not only am I taking care of the front end, but also the back end piece that's there. So social media acts as the top of the funnel, and then it's all about bringing them deeper into a place where they feel. And it's not about um, push marketing, where it's like I'm pushing my offers, or I'm pushing that, oh, buy this and everything. No, it is that people should feel ready, and they know that, okay, it is time for me to take that decision, it's time for me to take that call, and I'm just providing them with things to see that, okay, this is all that I do, this is who I am as an individual. If we align, then you know what, let's connect and let's move forward. If it doesn't, that's fine too.
Yeah. So, what I hear you say in the 80-20, that really amazing ratio, is that 80% is much more about getting the message out and support. No, sorry, the 80% is going to be, yes, about the message, and the 20% then about the person or the business. Am I understanding that right, or is it flipped?
So 80% definitely is about your personal brand, so who you are as a person, adding value to your audience and everything. And 20% would be, or I would say sometimes even 10% would be your offers that are there that you can sprinkle in from time to time, so that the people who are watching you, when they feel it's ready and it's time for them to make or avail that offer, they can then come into your world that's there. Or, if they are ready before that, for sure they're going to DM you.
So if somebody is posting every day, that they would then, over a 30-day period, the
Mhm.
content would be about 27 or so days, 26 days, maybe 25, probably 27, so that they would be sharing content, sharing things that would be helpful for people. Uh, and then only maybe 3 days sprinkled in, not necessarily back to back, but sprinkled in, would be the days of that there would be something about sales or about connecting in that point. Am I
I,
correct?
what I would say is that, for your social media, you need to divide them into pillars. There's
Yes.
education content, there's entertainment, and then there is authority building content that's there, or your offers that's there. So there has to be a mix that is there, and you just don't have to put offers just for the sake of putting offers.
I love
An offer could also be for them to download a lead magnet from you, or download a PDF from you, so that you can bring them into the world, you can add more value to them, and then whenever you are ready to put out that offer, or you feel that, okay, now is the time that I'm ready to, because maybe you're working on some coaching program or some sort of a membership or whatever that might look like, you can always point them towards that offer that's there. So it's not necessarily putting it out on social media, your offers. That offer could be as simple as just joining your email list. And I feel like that is really critical and important, because then you're able to nurture if something happens to social media. Say tomorrow your social media account gets shut down or you're locked out or something, you have a backup plan. It's not just, you've just relied on social media.
What you just shared there is absolutely pure gold. Because I have a dear friend, somebody that I actually work with, and she has a huge following, and woke up one day and everything was gone.
Uh,
And she's taking time to reflect on how she wants to move forward. She's not making any knee jerk reactions. Yes,
mhm,
she's in conversation asking what's going on and why with the companies, but she has been building her email network. And the email that I got last week was, and because I work with her, I knew that this had happened.
mhm,
But last week to everybody came out of "I'm still here," dot dot dot, where she just said, "This is what's happened, and this is where I am, and this is how you can get a hold of me." And so, allowing her email list to know just a little bit, but focusing much more on, if you need me, if you are looking for a deeper conversation in, and then she kind of listed some things in there. Here's how to get a hold of me and get on my schedule and let's have a conversation. And I
mhm.
thought, what a brilliant way, instead of just being so worked up that it's gone away, to be able to say, hey, you know, this is where I am and this is how I'm going to handle it. I was very impressed by that.
Yeah. And again, wow, kudos to your friend for having that following and one day just like waking up to nothing. Um, uh, that's devastating. But because she had that list, and
Right.
she like you said, she came from a place of grounding. It's like, okay, what can I do and how can I do it? And, not taking those knee jerk, not having those knee jerk reactions. I think that's so important, because when we come from a place of grounding, and and she knew that, okay, she has this list and everything. Now it's like, okay, she can just maybe open up another account and then and sure, it'll take time and everything for, people to join and everything,
Right.
but it's not like everything is lost, right? So,
Right. Right. Staying just a little bit longer on the idea of social media, how often do you encourage people to get onto social media, to be answering what people have put? Do you encourage them to have notifications? Do you encourage them to be posting? Do you encourage them to be sharing? Do you encourage them to be, 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 what people have put? Do you encourage them to have notifications? that are pressing, being sent to them all the time? Do you
Yeah.
encourage people to, block out time? What's your philosophy on answering?
Yeah. Such a great question again, Sarah. I feel, and this is what I have been doing it for myself as well. I find that blocking time works for me because now I'm present. And for me,
Hmm.
the way I work, even if I'm with the client, I am present with them at that moment, and then whatever is happening in my world, I kind of cut that out. And I feel like that is so important because if you have these notifications and everything on, and if you're constantly, going on your phone, you're not being effective because you are not being present for the task or for the person that you're with, and then you are not being fully present and engaging with people who you're trying to engage online. So I would say blocking off time really helps because then now I'm guilt free that hey, this is my social media time. If I have to scroll, which I do, and everybody does, you can do that. But then again, understanding that okay, now this is my social media time, and again also looking at social media, I have to be very mindful and aware. Am I, and ask myself this question, am I a content creator or a content consumer? And so it's a very fine line, and I feel like it's very easy to slip to the other side, and then hours go by and it's like you've done nothing, and you feel like, oh my god, what did I do? I had so many things online. So definitely time blocking, I would recommend for everyone because now guilt free.
Yes, I completely agree with you about time blocking. I find that that helps me to get more things accomplished in a much shorter period of time. And then also uh, to be able to put into my schedule long term spaces that if things are taking longer for me to create or work on, that I'm gifting myself these spaces to be able to do that. And if I don't need to have those spaces, then I can work on other things during that time. But I think it's really important, particularly when I'm working on something new, to be able to block out 3 times the amount of time I think it's going to take. And if it doesn't take that long, hallelujah, that's just so exciting. But if it does, then I don't feel completely defeated that I have taken out time from other things that I feel like I need to keep going and move things forward with. So, speaking about scheduling, what does your typical week look like or month as you think about things that you are doing? And I'm happy to go first with this. That in my week, I'm typically focused in sitting at the desk or working with clients Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That doesn't mean that I won't do it other days, but those are the days that I want to make sure that I'm filling in because I want to be able to have some elasticity in my calendar. And then I want to focus those to be in the first 3 weeks of the month. So the last week of the month, again, if I need to, I can put things in there, but that I'm, again, protecting time to be able to do other things. And so would love to hear what your thoughts are about how you choose to schedule and work on things.
Thank you for sharing that. That's beautiful. And I was smiling because I do something very similar to you where I have Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday blocked off for client work.
Mhm.
And that those are the days for my meetings and for if I have to go for networking or any of those things that are there. And then Monday and Friday is my days to work on my business because being into this field of creating brands and helping with businesses for other business owners, what happened, and I did find myself in that situation where the shoemaker has no shoes. And so here, here I would pour everything into my clients' businesses. But when it came to mine, I wasn't dedicating any time, and that's because I was leaving all of the days open. So I said, okay, this can't be, this is not something that is beneficial for anyone. And
Right.
so that's how, I started blocking that. Okay, it's not that I will not do it on other days for sure. I'm flexible that way, but Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays are blocked from 9 to 5. I am fully committed to that. And then Mondays and Fridays are the days I'm fully committed to working on the growth and the strategies and things that I need to do for Zoom into Live Studio because as I grow, I'm able to help more people, and I'm able to have a bigger impact on people. And if I don't do that, then I'll just be involved in that. And this is something that I learned from my mentor, Dr. Benjamin Hardy, where I was getting coaching from him last year. And he has this interesting concept where he says, what are the goals that you have for the year? You need to look at that goal, and whatever are the distractions, you need to take away the distractions that are there so that you zone in on that, and then look at that and then divide it into 90-day sprints. And then as soon as you do that, you are now able to decide what you are able to accomplish in that month, if it's possible, not possible, and how you need to look at it. And I took that and I created my own version of it, and that has been really helpful for me because now I know I'm moving the needle and moving forward, and I don't feel guilty. I feel like uh, when we don't accomplish something, there's a lot of guilt that we feel in our personal life, maybe as moms, because if there's something off over there, that you don't have time and everything, you feel over there that, oh my god, what kind of a mom am I unable to dedicate time to my daughter or my kids. And then you have, as a business owner, this guilt is like, okay, I need to get this thing done, I've not gotten it done. And it just comes down to that time blocking. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm so happy I'm not the only one who's doing that. So thank
Yes.
you for sharing your tip.
And you're absolutely right about the 90-day focus. Our brains are able to work on that really, really well. So something that I began doing years ago when I was still a classroom teacher, and we taught on a traditional schedule, so we'd have the summers off, is that I would take our calendar for the year, the family calendar, and I'd put in, okay, when do we plan to be on holiday? When do we plan to be with family? When do we, those kinds of pieces that in my family have been pretty stable pieces. And so put those pieces in first because I want the family time. I want the holiday time together. And so after that was in, then what were the next things and that needed to go in there? What were things that were very cyclical? Well, paying taxes is a cyclical thing, and I need to have time on the calendar to pull all the pieces together for that. And so, what else is pretty cyclical? Oh, shopping for gifts for whatever the holidays happen to be. And so, putting those pieces on there. These are things that happen every single year. And when I began to put those pieces onto the calendar, then it began to give me a sense of this is doable. And as you were talking about what needs to be removed from my schedule in order to be able to get these things done, do I want to completely just block out time to shop online, or is it more important for the particular gifts for me to be in person and touching and feeling and seeing, right? So, how do I want to move forward with some of those pieces? And I found that to be incredibly helpful for me as I was teaching full time, had a business, was also um, writing a book, doing other things. It just helped me to know that there was a place for everything, that I wasn't just waking up one morning and going, oh my gosh, today I have to get these things done to meet a deadline. And are there those days? Yes. But it really helped me to be able to put some pieces in place that you talked about the guilt piece, to not feel guilty, to be able to prevent that by just doing some forward looking, some forward thinking, looking at the calendar, processing some pieces. Birthdays don't change dates from year to year. They may change the day of the week that they're on, but it's the same day every single year. And so just having those pieces in place and to know that. And then with this show, I've been noticing also finding those spaces that if we're going to pre-record, how many can we do? How does that feel? How does that look like? What is that, experience? Not only for myself, but then also for people who are coming into the studio to share their incredible stories like you. And so that spacing also of what does that look and feel like. So I think each time that we take on something new, to be looking at it and to see how does this work? How does this fit into the other pieces of what we're working on? You are sharing is just so impactful. It's just so good. Uh,
Thank you.
let's talk a little bit about colors and textures. Are
Mhm.
there colors that you find work well together that to share stories of, or do you find that you are much more interested in locking people in with colors for a brand, or are you looking at, like I said, colors for particular season, perhaps, or and then at the end of that season change colors into something else.
Mhm.
Kind of what's been your philosophy on how stable do you choose, do you like for things to be with branding?
Yeah. And thank you for asking that because not many people understand, and this is where the confusion comes. Where I find that some people have they just like to rebrand every couple of years, like, oh, let's go and rebrand. And I tell them that every time you rebrand, you lose a bit of equity in your business, in your brand, because now you have to reprogram, retrain people who have been following you, saying that, okay, this is our new brand, this is a new logo, this is our new color palette, and everything that's there. And it takes time for people, and you've just spent so much of time, effort, and energy into building something, and
Mm,
now you are shifting it again. And I'm not saying that you should never do it. If there is a significant change in the business and what the direction was and where it's going and everything, definitely you should be doing that, but it has to be a mindful exercise, and especially when it comes to choosing colors. I tell people that it's not about what colors I like and what colors you like or what color this person likes. It's about understanding the psychology of colors,
mm,
because colors evoke some kind of feelings. I'm wearing red, you're wearing blue. Each color evokes some kind of feeling in it.
yes.
And so, if we are mindful of that, and I feel like branding and marketing is as much as it looks just tactical and surface level, it's deep rooted psychology.
Mm,
And if we understand that psychology and the subconscious, how our subconscious mind works, it becomes very easy. It becomes almost like a game that you're playing, and it's just so fascinating. And so, what I tell people is that look, dive deeper into the psychology of colors, and then look at what are you naturally gravitated towards. Because if you're naturally gravitating towards some colors, and I tell them go and have a look in your house or in your office, you will find a theme, you will find a pattern over there. And that
yes.
speaks volumes about what is it that you are trying to create. And if we are able to marry what you're naturally gravitating towards, as well as the psychology of colors and what who your audience is, what is the archetype or your personality type of your audience, when you build a color palette, meshing and marrying all of these three things together, now you have a very strong color palette that you don't need to change after a couple of years, because you've put all of this thing and all of this effort in the front end. You've made a rock solid brand, and then you move forward with it. Just like Nike, they don't change their logo or their branding. In fact, now they don't even write Nike, and it's just the swoosh, and we all know it's Nike, right?
Yes.
So
Right.
it has to be your identity, your brand's identity, your logo, your color palette, the typography that you use has to be looked from that aspect.
Mm. I think also this could take a little bit of time depending on how people organize their clothing, but to look at what's in the closet and maybe organize and put the blues together and the reds and the pink and the greens, just to see, and then to notice inside the closet what is it that you typically purchase the most of, because in those moments you are thinking that you're going to wear them. And then perhaps a second cut would be, what clothes do you actually wear, and part of what we choose to wear is based on comfort. Part of it's based on the season, but still comfort for that particular season. But to be looking at those things also that we naturally gravitate towards. And because I think that there is something that's already happening for us, whether we say that we choose it ourselves or that other people are choosing those. I know that there is periods of times when I go into a store, look at the color palettes out there and think, I'm not buying much this year because I'm not attracted to any of the colors that are out there. The cut may be perfect, the texture may be amazing, but it's not the color palette that I feel my best in. And so I've been pleased to see some of the colors that I enjoy wearing coming back. And they do. Things will go in a pattern. If your favorite color is not out there right now, just take a breath and it'll come back again. Or go shopping for the cloth and have someone else or make it for yourself, right? But in that space also of colors. And I do think that there is such depth to what you are saying. I love to garden. And we happen to live in a house right now that's red brick. And the colors that I love are fuchsia. And fuchsia flowers next to red brick just don't look great. And so on the front of the house, I'm buying colors that I wouldn't typically buy, although the hummingbirds are loving them. I have these fire sticks that have this brilliant red on them that the so and it looks good in the front of the house. But when you were in the house, looking in the backyard, looking into the arbor, the um, fruit trees that we have, the orchard there, it's much more. Those are the colors then are the ones that I really appreciate and like a lot. And yes, there's a lot more yellow here than I thought there was going to be, but that just seems to be something that grows really well here. Lots of different things that have yellow flowers grow where I am. And so again, noticing where I'm putting in my colors as I'm building flower beds and just being aware of what's around me has been a very interesting process in this time as well as I've been thinking about my colors and what is it that makes me feel aligned and feel good.
Mm.
So tell me about the color red, because I think that each time that we've spoken that you've worn red, and it's a beautiful color on you. Tell me about it.
Well, I think red has always been with me, red and gold actually,
Mhm.
both of these,
Yes.
and that's why you'll find gold around me quite a bit. I love playing. I feel like I was known for red color ever since I was a small child. My mom and my sisters still tease me about it. There she is in her red outfit. Um, I think the color red is so beautiful because it speaks to that fire element that's there. And I feel like that spark and that fire element is so important for us to realize that that is within us. And I think that is maybe why I am so drawn to it. It's fiery. It's red is about passion. Red is also power of a color of power. And so I feel that when I wear red, it's just as me. I just feel alive. I feel vibrant and joyful. It just makes me happy.
I think of it also being a color of action, and that you are a person of action. Um,
Yes.
and so many in America, fast foods use bright red. And I think that's also the action of come shop here, right? Come purchase this. I think about Coca Cola also being a worldwide brand and using that strong red. Pooja, I have loved our time together, this conversation of just going over so many different pieces, I feel has been so important to not just in our conversation, but for our audience around the world as they are listening in. Are there some things that you would like to reiterate that you would like for the audience just to hold on to from this conversation?
I would say, and it's interesting you asked me that question because I was just having this conversation with someone before we hopped on to this podcast. I would say that you've chosen to be an entrepreneur, and
Mm,
that is not by accident because you have been given a dream, a vision, a purpose that has been put into your heart. It's your job now to recognize that because that same dream or that same purpose is not given to anybody else, not your spouse, not your friend, not your partner, no one. It has been given to you is because you are meant to pursue that. What you do with it is entirely up to you. But what I would say is take a chance on yourself, bet on yourself, go all in, and
mm,
dedicate yourself to that purpose that is there because it is magical. You will become a completely different person in
yes.
pursuit of that purpose, and you would be touching and shifting and changing so many people's lives
Mhm.
because of that pursuit of purpose and passion that you have. So that is what I would say. Go all in. Don't doubt. Don't think what will happen if I fail. What will happen if I fail? Don't fear failure. Just tell yourself, what if suppose I fly? And you will fly. Take off those chains and that bags that are holding you down. Because if you have that and then you're trying to fly, you will fall. And it's not a guarantee that if you don't have that, that you'll not fall. Sure, you will fall because you don't know flying. Just like, the small birds in the nest, when they are learning to fly, they don't know how to fly. They will learn. But the trying part is important. The doing part is important, because who you become in the process, that is what life is all about. Um, that is your purpose, to become who you're meant to be. That's what I'd like to say.
Pooja, that's just so beautifully said. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your expertise. You're truly somebody who is gifted and has followed your heart into this. And I know it hasn't been a straight line for you, that there have been disappointments along the way. And yet you have followed this dream and built such an incredible company and helping so many different people. So thank you so much for carving out time for Simply Sarah and the audience, and for being here, friend.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I've had an amazing time. I didn't even know where the time flew by. It
Yeah.
was an incredible honor and just a pleasure to be with you, to be in your energy, invited to speak at your podcast. And I hope with everything that I shared, if it makes an impact to even one person, it's worth
Yes,
it. So thank you for that opportunity.
absolutely. And to our audience, we say until next time, take good care of you. See you soon.